It's one of America's last pristine wildernesses, rich in natural and cultural beauty. But with no roads linking it to the rest of the country, it remains one of the most challenging destinations for independent travel. But the introduction of cruise ships finally opened this region to the rest of the world. But the global shutdown has once again left the region only to the most die-hard travelers. But with cruise travel set to resume next month, this may be the last chance to experience one of America's last isolated corners the way it was meant to be. Welcome to Southeast Alaska! Just a 2-hour flight from Seattle, between Canada and the Pacific Ocean, lies the Alaska Panhandle, a mystical land of fjords, glaciers, and forgotten cultures. As travel in this region can be a logistical nightmare, I'll be focusing on just a small area. I'll begin my journey in downtown Juneau. From there, I'll visit Douglas Island and Mount Roberts before exploring the spectacular wonders of the Mackinac Valley. I'll then hop on a tour boat to explore the majestic Stevens Passage and Tracy Arm Fjord before returning to Juneau in time to catch the city's Maritime Festival.
How is going on the ship?
It's small ship. 75 passengers. We'll have to show our vaccination.
We didn't know cruise already started.
They're going to start the end of July. They got special mission from the U.S. Congress, so they don't have to go to Mexico.
Oh, we've just landed in Juneau and we have no idea how to get a taxi. Jag vill störa oss in i just.
Are you waiting for someone?
One eternity later.
Where are you going?
On the Baranoff Hotel.
Yeah, we are too.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Finally, geez.
I got the Baranoff.
Yes.
They charge $12 each person. It's very cheap. That way nobody else. You crying is because you're not good.
I'm glad you guys took us or we'd probably still be stuck there. Sorry.
Thank you, Rika. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, this is nice. Our first meal in Alaska.
A bed for the child.
Well, this is the hotel room we're going to be staying in Juneau, Alaska. Wait, let's go out again and check out this amazing view. I can only imagine what it'll look like tomorrow morning. Let's see. The discovery of gold in 1880 brought a huge influx of people to the region, quickly overtaking the former Russian and territorial capital of Sitka in terms of population. Lots of miners and lots of land and claim disputes, and at the time the only judges and lawyers were located in Sitka. So, in 1900, with Sitka's economy failing, President William McKinley signed the Alaska Bill, officially making Juneau Alaska's new capital in 1912. Co-founded by French, Canadian, and Irish-American prospectors Joe Juneau and Richard Harris, the city was originally called Harrisburg and then later Rockwell. When the city's name was put on the ballot in 1881, it is alleged that Joe Juneau bribed his fellow miners with alcohol in order to vote to name the city in his honor. With a population of roughly 32,000 people, Juneau is the second largest city in Alaska after Anchorage. At 2,700 square miles, it's also the second largest U.S. city by area, most of which is undeveloped wilderness, and the city's unusual borders make it the only U.S. capital to border a foreign country. It's also the northernmost U.S. capital and the only U.S. capital that can't be reached by road. In addition, it also happens to be America's cloudiest city and one of the cloudiest cities in the world, averaging just 85 days of sunshine. So, looks like today we might be lucky. Now, normally during the cruise season, the city would see 6,000 visitors daily, making it Alaska's second most popular city after Anchorage. And I'm not surprised, because the great thing about Juneau is you can pretty much find almost everything that Alaska has to offer in a small area. So this is a really good introduction city.
Nie będą ludzie przy kolejce.
Russia had established a presence in North America during the first half of the 18th century, but few Russians ever settled in Alaska. In the aftermath of the Crimean War, Russian Tsar Alexander II began exploring the possibility of selling Alaska, which he felt would be difficult to defend. So, in 1867, Russian Minister Edward de Stokos sold the 660,000 square mile territory to U.S. Secretary of State William Seward for just 2 cents an acre. Some opponents mocked the purchase as Seward's Folly or Seward's Icebox, contending that the U.S. had acquired useless land. It would remain sparsely populated until the Klondike Gold Rush of 1896. So, why is there no thriving Russian community in Juneau? You see, by the time Juneau was founded, Russia had already sold Alaska to the U.S. Nearly all Russian settlers left in the aftermath of the purchase. But you can still find ways to experience Russian culture if you're willing to think a bit outside the box.
There's lots of Russian things in here. It has more details. I mean, you look at that, but you know, some people don't like religious. The thing is, I love it. If you're not religious, that's fine. You can look at it. It's a beautiful art.
Are you going like to Russia by this stuff? Are you doing?
You go to Vladivostok or
To Moscow.
What makes you open store like this? Like Europe?
Because Alaska used to belong to
Russia, yeah,
so
I
the
know,
history of our state is about
Russia.
That was really neat. It truly felt like I was in Russia. I've always been fascinated with Russian culture. That's one of the reasons I wanted to come to Alaska. So I'm glad that I always got to experience some Russian culture. And this beautiful building you see behind me is the mansion of the Alaska governor. First built and occupied in 1912. It looks like someone's home. Ja, są tam ludzie, że światła świecą. Mansion is built in a colonial revival style. Wiem, bo wiedział ten nasz, to taki dziadowski.
Ochrony teraz samochodem jeździ. Zdjęcie takie on zrobić to łatwo.
This totem pole right here is known as the harnessing of the atom totem pole. It's carved by the native Tlingit Indians, and it contains 5 figures which tell us the entire Tlingit history. The raven is the creator of the universe. The man and sun represents the harnessing of the power of the universe. The 4th figure represents a Russian priest, and the bald eagle represents America's acquisition of Alaska. And this one right here is the 4-story totem pole carved by the Haida tribe and depicts 4 Haida clan stories: the monster frog, the man with the fish trap, Chawang and the land otter man, and the shaman at Island Point Town. This sort of ugly looking building is actually the state capitol. It was constructed in 1929, and before that time the territorial legislature would actually meet in the rented rooms across town. Actually one of 11 state capitals that have no dome. There have actually been several attempts, this recent one in 2002, to move the capital, but they've all failed. In front of the Capitol, a replica of the Liberty Bell was given to all states and territories by the federal government in 1950 to help raise support for giving bond drives. Right next to the Capitol are the legislative offices, which are housed in the former Masonic temple. And if you're hoping to crash one of their meetings, you'll have to come here during the winter. I pretensje do gubernatora masz, że otworzył, a nie do turystów. Ja wiem, taki brzydki, a to...
Bo te schowki też nie już by były.
Oh wow, this is nice. This beautiful neighborhood we're in right now is known as the Chicken Ridge Historic District. Once regarded as the finest neighborhood in all of Alaska, where the wealthiest of the wealthy live, this picturesque neighborhood is dotted with beautiful early 20th century homes, mostly of the craftsmen. Tudor and colonial revival style. The oldest and most famous of which is the Wickersham House, once the home of James Wickersham, a man who was responsible for shaping the Alaska we know today. Built in 1898 by a local mining tycoon, the home on the ridge, as it was known, was home to some of Juneau's most prominent residents, the most famous being James Wickersham, who purchased the home in 1928 and lived here with his wife until his death in 1939 at the age of 82. Born in Illinois, he spent the early parts of his life as a judge, mountaineer, scholar, and president of a science academy in Tacoma, Washington. Despite his vast intellect, he quickly earned a notorious reputation after co-leading a mob responsible for driving out the town's Chinese population. At the age of 45, Wickersham allegedly fled to Alaska to avoid a government posting in Japan. Here he spent the remainder of his life, where he served as a lawyer, judge, and congressman, during which time he was responsible for securing the state territorial status, establishing the railroad, Alaska University, and Denali National Park, and introducing the first statehood bill. Now the neighborhood gets its unusual name because of the large number of ptarmigans and grouse that used to frequent this area. The neighborhood is often compared to San Francisco's Nob Hill. Piękne.
Z daleka go cały, żeby piękny. Z nami na dół, żeśmy szli też gdzieś, teraz tak ten...
This building behind is the co-cathedral of the Nativity of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Completed in 1910, it replaced an earlier church from 1885. Until 2020, it was the mother church of the Roman Catholic Diocese of Juneau. Despite its long status as a Russian colony, the area that's now Juneau actually saw no Russian presence until the 1890s, when a group of Siberian miners arrived in this area. In 1893, together with the local Tlingit Indians, they constructed this Russian Orthodox church dedicated to Saint Nicholas. Now, the Russian population in Juneau was quite minuscule, and it was actually the Tlingits, not the Russians, who pushed more for the construction of this church, and that's because during the late 1800s, when there was a massive smallpox outbreak in the local Tlingit shamans actually weren't able to treat it, and therefore all of Tlingits actually lost faith in their traditional religion and decided to convert to the Russian Orthodox religion. Today, true Russian culture is almost non-existent, with even the liturgies being conducted in English. Tak, tak.
Pierogi, a później możemy przyjść na coś innego.